The Bureau of Meteorology has issued a severe heatwave warning.
Dangerous heat conditions are really starting to grip from today.
The longest September heatwave on record.
They're the kinds of temperatures we don't expect until high summer.
To put the heat in perspective, last year Sydney didn't hit 30 degrees until January.
Eastern Australia in the grips of a heat wave that's seen the mercury soar 10 to 15 degrees above average in places, with Sydney tipped to go above 30 for 5 days straight this week.
It's warm today, but going to get warmer tomorrow and then even warmer on Wednesday, accompanied by hot winds.
So hot, 26 runners in yesterday's Sydney Marathon were hospitalised, 7 in a serious condition.
If you feel like you're going to faint, let me know, okay?
Dozens of fires are already raging across Queensland and New South Wales, with authorities bracing for worse.
Particularly the Hunter, but always Western Sydney is always a concern because the temperature's so much higher out there and they'll have the full brunt of those westerly winds.
All the fuel is quite dried out, the humidity is low and the type of vegetation lends itself to fast-running fires.
The most terrifying part? We're just 2 weeks out of winter.
This is very unsettling to see it this hot at this time of year. That comes off the back of a long period of above average rainfall. That means a lot of our landscapes are primed to burn.
It's going to be a tough summer. You need to have an evacuation plan in place. You need to make sure that your own personal property's hazard reduction is up to scratch.
But new statistics show we're not ready at all. While 66% of us are anticipating an increase in severe weather-related emergencies, only 1 in 10 of us actually has a plan.
It's incredibly important that we're looking out for each other, that we're preparing for the impacts of climate change.
The demand for action reaching a global crescendo, with more than 500 weekend protests calling for an end to fossil fuels as Climate Week gets underway.
We will not give up! We will not let go!
If we leave our fossil fuels in the ground, if we get our emissions plummeting, then by the time a kid born today is getting to college, we'll really be seeing the benefits. We'll be seeing fewer deadly heat waves.
So as a scorching summer bears down, what can we do to prepare and how can we adapt to our new normal?
Penny Harrison is with the Red Cross and they've launched an app designed to help us get ready. Penny, tell us about this new app. How does it all work?
Yeah, the Get Prepared app is downloadable on Google Play and through Apple, and the steps in the app called Get Prepared take you through some really simple preparations that are both sort of to psychologically prepare you, but also to physically prepare, whether it's your individual as an individual or your household or as a community. So those easy steps help you imagine how you might think, feel and act should a disaster occur. And then you know that you've got this great resource that you can go to, holding your documents, information about medication and other things that you may find really helpful in response.
I think the app's a great idea because, if you ask people what a plan would be, I don't think they'd know the first thing to do, especially if they don't live in like an area that often gets fires or something like that. And I know the app will take you through it, but can you just give us, a sense? What's like the most obvious thing that everyone sitting at home hasn't thought of?
There might be a couple of things, and I updated my own app over the weekend and redid my plan because some of my personal contacts have changed, who I might reach out to, both for emotional support, but also who I could call on if I needed help to move from one location to another. It also asked me questions around my current medication, contact for my GP, but also really importantly, what I might do with my pets. And that's certainly something that I hadn't thought of before.
So, Penny, does that mean that, for instance, people have been caught up in the floods or bushfires fairly recently, how they were stuck because they didn't have essential documents, like they didn't have birth certificates or licences, they'd lost stuff. You can store it all in the app?
Yes, or you may have other devices that you store it on. So, for example, I personally have a cloud storage with some digital copies of some of my really important documents. So what the app and the Ready Plan will do is prompt you to think about, do you have copies of those documents? Where are they stored? And then encourages you, obviously, to make steps to put those in a place that you could access them should you need them.
Is the Red Cross gearing up for more demand this summer?
Yes, every year we go through various cycles. Particularly a couple of months ago, we did a huge reach out for volunteers to join our emergency services teams all around the country. Because as a community-based organisation, we rely on this incredible gift of time that volunteers donate to us. And because they're in and of community, they're actually best placed to understand. They have the networks, they've got the relationships in order to support communities and individuals if they do get impacted by a disaster.
We're downloading the app now. Penny, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, jeez, all right.
Get it out, Wally.
Fantastic.
How'd you go?
Sorry, it's still...
That's Tinder. That's not...
No, it's not. It's Hinge. Come on, give him a break. The more elegant one.
I thought it was Bumble.
Okay.
It was Bumble, right.